All right, in today's video, we're going to go over how to set up a CI/CD pipeline using AWS CodePipeline. We're also going to be using CodeBuild and hosting a static website within an S3 bucket. So we'll go over how to do all of that. So to get started, you want to make sure that you have some sort of code repository. I'm using Bitbucket. You could also use GitHub, whatever works for you. You're going to want to have an AWS account, obviously. We're going to use CodePipeline, CodeBuild, and then this will be our bucket here, and we are going to allow hosting on it, so you can go ahead and visit your site like this. So then you could have a fully functioning CI/CD personal website. Anytime you push code to your repository, it'll automatically update here. So let's go over how to set this up. So the first step is going to be come in to your Amazon account, into the console here, and let's go ahead. So I've already done it once, so let's go ahead and make a new pipeline. So we have, this is one I was just showing you. So we're gonna go ahead and click Create Pipeline. We're gonna call this Personal Portfolio, or whatever you want. I'll call this YouTube. We don't need to mess with any of the advanced settings, and this is gonna go ahead and create a role for us. We're probably gonna have to add some permissions to make sure that everything works later on, but we're gonna go ahead and click Next on that. And so the first step here, so the way that this works is CodePipeline will take each step of the process. So it's going to build your project. So I'm using, I built my site with Vue. So you're going to have different build commands that need to be run in order for the site to actually work properly. So our source provider here is going to be this Bitbucket repository. So that's our first step here within our CodePipeline. So let's go ahead and click our Bitbucket. And then you're going to want to click Connect to Bitbucket. I already have a few connections set up here as I was learning how to do this, but I'll go ahead and click Connect to Bitbucket. We'll call this Personal Portfolio Connection YouTube, just so that I can differentiate this later on. Connect to Bitbucket. And you can see here that I already have this set up, or you can click install a new app, and that'll just basically walk you through how to set up your connection with your Bitbucket. So you obviously have to give permission for this all to work. So we're going to go ahead and grant access. And this will allow you to pull the different branches from that actual Bitbucket repository, because you can choose which repository you want to actually choose from. Okay, so that's too long. Okay, so there you go. You can see, hey, we connected. So that's fully connected to our Bitbucket. And then I have a few different projects here that I'm working on, and I want to actually connect to my personal portfolio. You can see here that that maps up with this repository. So let's come back in here. And then I want to develop or have this come off of my master branch. So you can go ahead and choose our master branch. And we're going to start the pipeline on source code change. So this will be cool later on when I show you how to actually push code to the repository. You'll see these things automatically update, which is actually pretty cool to see. Okay. And then this is where you have to go and create a code build project. So let's go ahead and do this. And this is a step that's actually going to build our project. So obviously when you push everything to your Bitbucket repository, that's just all of your code. But all you actually want is for my example here with this Vue application, is that distribution folder. So you're going to be able to, we're going to use a build spec YAML file. And that'll actually tell CodeBuild which functions to run when the code is actually updated, and that'll properly allocate all the different files to the folders that you need. So this is going to be our personal portfolio. What do we want to call it? CodeBuild YouTube. We don't need to do any of that. We don't need any of that. I'm just going to go with Amazon Linux, and I'll go with the standard runtime, and we'll just go with 4.0. We'll create a new service role here, and right here, this is what I was talking about with that build spec file. So this is the setting that we're going to use. I'll show you how to set that up later. But basically what you're going to do is create a new file within your project and push that to your repository, and then code build and know how to do everything from there. And cool. So let's go ahead and create that. So that should have created our code build project for us. Okay, so yep, we have a code build project named as such, or whatever you named it, and everything else looks fine. So I'm actually going to skip this deploy stage for a second. If my computer would stop lagging, I could click that. Okay, so we're going to skip that for now. Hold on, I gotta pause this really quick. Okay, sorry about that. I had to change some of my OBS Studio settings. It keeps making my computer all laggy. Anyways, so this is our review here of the pipeline that we've set up so far. So we have our pipeline name. We provided a source provider, which is this Bitbucket repository. And then we're going to use this code build project that we set up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our pipeline, and we'll add that deploy stage later. Because in this example, we're just deploying it to an S3 bucket. So all we're going to do is take, it's called the build artifact from this code build step, and basically just send that into the S3 bucket and allow hosting, which should work. So then you can see here, this is going to connect to our Bitbucket. This is our source, and it's right now trying to make sure that it can pull in all the code from there, and it'll let us know if it has passed or failed. And then it should go to this build step. Which for you, it probably won't work right away, because I'm assuming you don't have a build spec YAML file within your repository, so this should actually fail. It'll probably pass for me because I've already done it once before, but I'll show you how to add that file and get this to work. So let's go into our project here. So within the actual root of your project, you want to add this file here. So we have buildspec.yaml. And you can go ahead and just copy all of this. But basically, there's different phases of a build process. So all we're going to be using is we want to install necessary packages, and then we actually have just the build step. Okay. So within my build step, I have build production, but I'll show you what exactly that is. You could have this just be npm run build, and then that'll actually create your distribution folder for you. But in my example here, I have some files that I actually want to be sent to that distribution file when it's created. So in my package.json, I have a few scripts that I created where I copy over different folders and stuff. I'm assuming for what you're doing, if you're just hosting a simple static site, you probably don't need to deal with this, but this is my build production script right here. So this is actually going to run a copy script that copies different files that I need, and then we're actually going to run that build, and then that's going to create the distribution folder that is then set as the base directory. So here we're going to attach all of our different files, but we're going to let our code build know that the base directory is that distribution folder. So that's the one that we're trying to access, and we're going to send that to the S3 bucket. So if you followed that, you should have a build spec YAML in your files in your root directory now, with all of these different commands. And once you push that to your repository, you'll see this will then rebuild. So you can see that mine succeeded. I'll go ahead and actually let's come. I can't even remember. I think I said my name is Joe on this thing, which is not true. Okay, yeah. So right here, I'll show you the website again. So we have hello, my name is Joe. So that's not right. Actually, this is already hosted, so that actually won't work. Let's see. Let's go ahead, and so if you have your build spec YAML in there and you have pushed that code to your repository, this should have re-triggered and it should have built correctly now. Okay, so the last step we're going to do here is send whatever was built within this step here. We're going to send that to our S3 bucket. Okay, so let's go ahead and come in here, and we're going to want to edit it. So we're still in our pipeline here, and you're going to click Add Stage. So this stage name we're going to call Deploy, and we're going to add an action group. We'll call it, I don't know, deploy S3. And the action provider in this case is going to be our Amazon S3. And we're going to have the input artifact. This is what I was talking about before. This will be our build artifact. And let's go ahead and come into, I'll show you how to make a bucket. So this is the bucket I had already set up. Let's go ahead and create a new bucket. We'll call this personal portfolio YouTube bucket. And don't need to worry about that. Don't need to worry about any of this. Okay, let's go ahead and create this bucket. So this is our YouTube bucket, and I think we're actually probably going to want to make, you're going to want to not have this block all public access checked because we're going to host this site within the S3 bucket. It's not secure, but just so you guys can learn how to do it, it's fine enough. Cool, so let's go ahead and go with that. So we can come back to our pipeline here. And we're actually going to want to probably cancel this really quick because I'm assuming we're going to need to refresh this page. So let's refresh our page here. Okay, come back in. We're adding that new stage. We're going to call this stage deploy. And then we're going to add an action group. We'll just call it deploy. Our action provider was that S3 bucket. The input artifact is the build artifact from the step previous. And let's see if we can find our YouTube bucket. There it is. So let's go ahead and extract this file before we deploy it. Let's go ahead and give that a try. So let's click, oops. Let's get rid of that. And we will extract the file before deploy. Click done. And click done. And save, save. And then let's go ahead and release this change. Okay, we'll see what happens there. And then, so within this bucket, we're actually going to need to add a few permissions. Within here, you're going to need to add a get object policy. And then to actually have this site host a static website, we're going to enable this. But I'm going to let this build and we'll come back. Okay, so the deploy stage succeeded again. Let's go ahead and check out our bucket. And there we go. We can actually see that our distribution folder is within here now. We have everything that we would need to actually host that site. So let's come into our properties. Let's come down to static website hosting. We'll click edit and we will enable that. Host a static website. And then, yep, this will be our index.html. And that should be good enough for now. We'll save that. And there you go. So we have this. We'll open that in a new link. And access is denied. So this is why we actually need to add a permission to our bucket. So let's come in here. We'll click edit. Let's see if we can actually use this policy generator. Actually, never mind. I don't want to do that. So you're going to want to copy this bucket policy here. So this is going to be our S3 get object, and then the actual resource is going to be the bucket that we set here. So let's come within here, and we will paste that, and our resource will be this bucket. So let's come in here and paste that and save changes. Okay, so that should be good. Let's go ahead and refresh this again. And there you go. Almost. There we go. So now you can see that our S3 bucket is now hosting our personal portfolio YouTube bucket here. And the thing that's really cool about this is, so this says, hey, my name's Joe. That's not my name. My name is Blake. So let's come in here and we'll say, hey, my name's Blake. I'll save that. And we're gonna go git add. We're gonna go git commit. Update name on homepage. And then we're gonna do git push. I think I did 2 origins for this one. Bitbucket origin master. So that's, we're gonna push to our master branch. So then if we come back to our pipeline, once this code actually pushes to that repository, this is automatically gonna fire off. So you should see here in a second. Boom, right there. So it says just now succeeded, so it was able to pull in our source code from that repository. It's gonna start trying to build that project again, and then it's gonna deploy it automatically. So then when we come to our page here, once everything has run its course, this is gonna say, hey, my name's Blake. So let's go back to our pipeline here. Actually, you don't need to watch this whole thing. So I'll pause it until it has built, and then I'll show you that that actually did update properly. So now that we've pushed that update to the repository, you can see that it has the latest commit message, update name on homepage. It went ahead and built it, and then it deployed it. So then if you come back over here, it's already refreshed. You can see that that now says, hello, my name is Blake. But something that you need to keep in mind is the actual runtime environment that you chose, which I chose Linux. You need to make sure that your actual commands within these scripts here function within that runtime. So I chose Linux. These originally said copy, which does not work. So I had to come in and change that to CP so that my build commands here would actually work. So if your build commands fail, go ahead and you can check the details here of the entire build, and it'll show the entire log of what was happening. So if I go back to my previous log, you can see that it was failing for me. Yeah, okay, so I had to try it a couple times here. So if I come in here, you can see that it says like, hey, it failed during this this build production command. It wasn't able to find the distribution. One of the other error messages on the other one said that it couldn't find the actual copy command. So things like that you need to keep in mind. So if anything happens within one of these steps, within this like build step, you can actually come in and see exactly what it was logging the entire time. So that's an easy way to kind of work through any errors that you might have. So if we go back to our pipeline here, yeah, so you basically have a CI/CD pipeline set up using our source here, which is our Bitbucket. You set up a code build project that runs your actual code, builds it for you, and then you're deploying that distribution to this S3 bucket, and you have your site hosted. So yeah, that's a basic rundown of how to set all that up. If you found this video helpful, please do consider liking and subscribing. It's free, why not do it? I'm going to try to make a few more videos on some other AWS technologies that I've been working with. Hopefully this wasn't too rambly. Yeah, so thanks for watching.